Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Erin with Wave Foundation and we are here with another aquatic adventure, but I have found another new place to come to you all from, and I'm here along the banks of the Ohio and actually the Licking River as well. And we're outside for a really important reason today. We're gonna be observing our habitats that are around us, and we're actually gonna map them out. And the goal of this mapping is really to think about what resources are necessary for animals and other organisms to survive and thrive out in their local ecosystems and in our local ecosystems, and how can we make sure that our habitats around us are providing those resources that animals need to them. And so we have some important resources that we're going to be looking for and we're going to be highlighting today. There is a road and therefore a truck passing by at this moment. That's okay, that's one of the things we're gonna map out in our habitat. So we're gonna look around, and so the first thing you need to do is pick a habitat. If you can, bring with you a piece of paper. If you have some markers, that would be great. You really just need 4 colors of any kind. I have green, yellow, red, and blue that I'm gonna talk about, but if you are substituting other colors, totally fine. And so first off, find a spot. If you are at home and you are looking out a window, that's a habitat. That's perfectly fine. If you are like me and you're able to come out to the Ohio River, fantastic. If you're in your backyard, all of these places work. We're just gonna be mapping out what you see. So the next step is to draw what you see. We are not having to be incredible artists here. Whatever you draw is perfect, and however you interpret the habitat around you. So I'll show you a little bit of what I drew so that you see what kinds of things you're really looking for, and then we will highlight them on our image. So I am here along the Ohio River. It's the Ohio River that you see behind me. And off to this side, you cannot see it in this video, but the Licking River actually joins the Ohio River very close to where I'm sitting. So I drew both of those. So I have the Licking River here coming in to the Ohio River. I put some waves in the river and a boat in the river. I have a lot of trees around because, as you see, I am surrounded by some trees. I did include my picnic tables. They're a part of the habitat that's here in this area that I'm sitting in, so that's getting added. This is a hill that you see right here, and I did write in and draw those bushes in. There's something that we're gonna be looking at here in a moment, and then everything that's around the middle here is all the grass. And then I added in, I think you can see some of my geese friend right here, and then there's lots of other little birds flying around also. So I have drawn in one goose here, and then I made circles for the other geese. The one goose took me long enough, but if you guys want to draw as many and get as detailed as possible, the more detailed the better in your habitat. I also drew the road that's here in front of me, and there are some parking spots and other things over on my left side, so I drew those in as well. I think that's everything that I drew in my habitat, because that's everything that I see around me. If you see other animals, other plants, if you can identify them, those are fantastic. Maybe look for some books or get an adult to help you online to identify what trees and plants and animals you're looking at. That would take this a whole nother step. But so, like I said, we're mapping out the resources that are important to animals in our habitats. So the first thing we're gonna do is identify what food and water resources are present in our habitat. So for me, water source, Ohio River, of course. I'm using green to highlight food and water sources. You can use whatever color you like. So I'm gonna sort of outline my river here in green, and I'm gonna add it to my waves because that is the color I am using to show water, and water resources, I should say. So we've got that along our river, and then we said food resources. Now what food resources are here? There's no grocery store for our resources, but the plants are the animals' resources for food. So our geese and our birds might get food from the grass, so I'm gonna make that green. They might get food from the trees, so I'm gonna make the tree tops where all my leaves are. I'm gonna make those green also as my food resource. So you guys should be adding a color, whatever color you're using for your food resources, to any of those foods. So now I have got my food resources colored in green. Now we are then gonna look at pathways, and I'm using yellow. Now what does a pathway mean? Actually right here behind me where you see there's less grass, this is probably a pathway. It's an area that people and animals are using significantly to move around the space. And so in the area on my picture where I didn't put the grass because it's just dirt, that's where I'm gonna highlight a pathway. So I'm actually just gonna kind of color the whole thing yellow. And then also for humans, we have a road and a parking lot. Those are other pathways. And we are a part of the habitat, so I'm gonna color our pathways also. So I made our road and our parking lot and any of this dirt that looks like lots of people have been walking around. I made that all yellow. If you see an area between two wooded regions that you think animals are passing between to get to those resources, that's your version of a pathway. So that's what you're gonna be looking for your yellow. Now, red, we're gonna be looking at habitat and sleeping and hiding locations. So that's why I called your attention, it's hard to point backwards in this video, to the bushes that are up here, because those are stellar hiding places for the birds, for the small, maybe baby animals that might be in this area. So I'm gonna color my hillside and all my bushes red, because those are great hiding places. And then you also might be able to hear the birds actually behind me. And they're all, I can't see them, I can't identify them right now because they're hiding in the trees. So I'm gonna add some red inside of my trees where I put already green for food resources, but I'm gonna add a little red because the trees are also great hiding places. So we're gonna add that in. So now we have great hiding spaces in my bushes and in my trees, but out in the grass isn't great hiding spaces for any of those birds that I'm seeing. So I'm not gonna color that in right now. Now, last but not least, I have one more color. For me, I'm using blue. And what we're gonna do now is highlight where are you seeing animals. So I can hear animals in the trees, so I put some circles for my birds up in the tree. So I'm gonna color those blue. I see geese all along the ground, so I'm gonna color where I drew my geese. I'm gonna color them blue. And what this allows us to do is to match up where are we seeing animals with where are resources present. We've got one more goose to color in, there we go. Oh, this morning I also, they flew away before I recorded this video, but I saw a great blue heron over on the side of this hillside. So I'm coloring that guy in too, because I drew my heron on here. I was very excited to see a heron. So now what you notice, I have got some blue dots up in the trees. There's great hiding location there, there's great food there, and so that's where we see most of our animals. So once you've mapped out your habitat, I want you to look and see, consider, can animals find all the resources that they need in your habitat, in the habitat that you're looking at? If they can't, is there anything, if it's your backyard, if it's somewhere that you're allowed to control, is there something you could do to add to that? Luckily here in my habitat, all the resources that an animal could need are here, especially because I am next to the Ohio River. But I'm thinking about my backyard, I don't have a water source for animals. And so I may consider adding a bird bath or another water feature that would allow birds to bathe and drink at that water source. So think about what resources might be missing from your habitat that you're looking at and mapping, and how could you add to that to allow animals a better space to provide all the resources that they need. Now, this does not extend only to our natural resources, right? You could map out your house if you wanted to and see how far are you at any point from a room that has all of these resources. You know, the living room might be closest. It has your pathways. It has a hiding place on the couch. It has food probably close by in the kitchen. And so think about where in your house are you closest to that perfect habitat that provides everything you need. And then maybe map that out. So I hope you guys enjoy. Keep finding other habitats and spaces to map out, and think about how you can provide the most resources to our local animals and critters outside that need resources. Have a good one.